All right, so move on to the next segment. I'll be sharing my early fight preview between Xander Zayas and Jaron Ennis. So the news broke yesterday. It is now official. We now have a monumental mega fight to look forward to in the super welterweight division this summer. Xander Zayas will be defending his WBA and WBO unified titles against Jaron Ennis this summer, June 27th at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York. Get your popcorn ready. I think this is one of the biggest fights to be made in this super welterweight division, so it's going to be a lot of fun. But I'm going to break down a small preview of what this fight is going to contain between these two elite fighters. So, my thoughts on the fight. Honestly, this Xander Zayas versus Jaron Ennis fight is the biggest fight to be made at this super welterweight division outside of Jaron Ennis versus Virgil Ortiz Jr. And I know a lot of boxing fans like myself wanted to see Jaron Ennis versus Virgil Ortiz Jr. next, but we move on in the sport of boxing. Now we're getting another mega fight, and we know Virgil Ortiz Jr. is in some legal trouble with Golden Boy Promotions and Oscar De La Hoya. He can honestly be put on the shelf for a very long time with all the legal trouble that they're going on in his contract right now. But Xander Zayas versus Jaron Ennis is actually one hell of a fight at this super welterweight division. And I give Xander Zayas a lot of credit. This guy has won over my respect very early. He has a lot of cojones. At 23 years of age, doesn't give a damn. He wants to dare himself to be great. And that's what all these young fighters should do, because you don't have to wait for your opportunity. Take it by the hand and take the ball and run with your opportunity. And that's what Xander Zayas is doing. He's already a unified champion. Why not get the biggest fighter to fight you at this division? And honestly, I am a big fan of Jaron Ennis. Honestly, I love me some Jaron Ennis, and he's one of my favorite fighters to follow in the sport of boxing, with guys like Gervonta Davis, David Benavidez, Earl Spence, and Bam Rodriguez. Those are my favorite active fighters. But as I digress, Jaron Ennis is 35-0 in his boxing career. Former unified champion, holding the WBA, IBF, and Ring Magazine titles, defeated Staniotis early 2025 before he moved up to 154. So, honestly, Xander Zayas is going to be Jaron Ennis' best opponent up to date on his respective resume. And yeah, he does have a questionable resume, being 35-0 already in his boxing career, but it's not all his fault, because he did not get the opportunities against Earl Spence or Terrence Crawford when they were reigning supreme as world champions at welterweight a few years ago. But there are some big storylines for this fight between Jaron Ennis and Xander Zayas. If Jaron Ennis becomes a two-division world champion, defeating Xander Zayas here, it's one of the biggest divisions in boxing, in my opinion, the biggest. Honestly, you have to put him on your top 10 pound-for-pound list. I already have Jaron Ennis as a top 10 pound-for-pound fighter, but I can understand why people don't have him, because he doesn't have the resume that people like thus far. But a loss for Jaron Ennis, does that show that he could be overhyped or overrated? Being 35-0 at this point, and then your biggest test you fail against Xander Zayas possibly. So this is going to be a fun fight. And then if Xander Zayas wins, he becomes an established star in this sport of boxing, because he's already the unified champion in a deep division that has talent from top to bottom. And he just was in the Super Bowl halftime show with Bad Bunny during the Super Bowl, if you guys missed that. So, styles makes fights. I think this is going to be an incredible fight. Jaron Ennis has hand-blazing speed mixed with power, great boxing IQ, a great counter puncher, and has the ability to adapt in between rounds. And then you look at Xander Zayas, a high volume work rate, lands punches and flurries in between rounds. I believe he lands 60. He lands 60 or throws 60 to 65 punches per round, and it has a devastating left hook, and it could do some work to the body. So this is going to be a fun fight. And the press conferences start next week, so get your popcorn ready. I know these guys are going to be chopping at the bit, ready to prove to the world who really is the best at this super welterweight division. But I think these two guys, Xander Zayas and Jaron Ennis, is going to open the door for all the possible opportunities that we're going to see present itself at this division with some monumental fights, because this division is stacked, guys. We still got Sebastian Fedor's WBC champion. Josh Kelly's the IBF champion, just won the title against Baccarin in the beginning of the year. You got the return of Earl Spence. You got Jermell Charlo possibly coming in the mix. Like, Tim Tszyu still around. Like, this is going to be a fun division to follow, guys. But those are my thoughts on Xander Zayas versus Jaron Ennis happening next in the sport of boxing.